takes to X and writes this lengthy post. I'll get into it. So she writes, Anna is a malicious and pathological liar who has spent years with her co-host Cenk Uygur lying about and trying to cancel every outspoken Trump supporter, myself included. She has spread delusional lies about Trump, but now in a low-cut top, you literally can't see what I'm wearing, but okay. Low-cut top and a face full of makeup. She wants to tell some make-believe story.
Ana Kasparian gets triggered by some rather wild accusations on Twitter on the Young Turks, which I guess hit Ana Kasparian a bit hard if she had to respond, but Laura Loomer, a Trump supporter, called Ana Kasparian out on X attacking her, and Ana Kasparian felt she needed to react. So let's check out Ana Kasparian in this clip reacting to this attack from Laura Loomer on X.
I got to know Jeff before I knew what his politics were. Incredibly kind guy. He helps everyone in this building with anything they might need. And so that woke me up to, wait a minute, not all Trump supporters are like dangerous, evil individuals. And yes, it was stupid that I thought that to begin with. Like, I'm embarrassed admitting that, but it's just how I believed. So over the weekend, that brief clip from my appearance on the Modern Wisdom podcast started making its rounds on social media, even though my interview on that podcast was from literally weeks ago. And somehow it has upset some people, including, the fine people over there like Laura Loomer. So randomly out of nowhere, she attacked me over what I had to say, which I thought was fascinating. We're gonna get to her comments in just a minute, but here is more context from what I was saying while on the Modern Wisdom podcast. Take a look. And so I'm like trying to get his bicycle like up the stairs, and all of a sudden this man stops me. His name's Jeff, and he's like, "Hey, let me help you out with that." And he starts helping me out. He stopped everything he was doing to help me out. And then Jeff and I became very close. One of my neighbors who I really like, he was my favorite person in the entire building. And years go by. One day we're in an HOA meeting, homeowners association, and one of the people living in the building said something about Trump that was negative. I don't remember what it is. And Jeff whispers in my ear, "Oh, she's going to start trashing Trump. I'm out of here." And it hit me that he's a Trump supporter. We had never talked about politics before. That woke me up to, wait a minute, not all Trump supporters are like dangerous, evil individuals. And yes, it was stupid that I thought that to begin with. Like a light bulb went off and something was telling me, you need to scratch beneath the surface a little more because you don't have a realistic view of what's going on here. Okay, so that clip offended Laura Loomer, who's a massive Trump supporter, as we all know. And so she takes to X and writes this lengthy post. I'll get into it. So she writes, Anna is a malicious and pathological liar who has spent years with her co-host Cenk Uygur lying about and trying to cancel every outspoken Trump supporter, myself included. She has spread delusional lies about Trump, but now in a low-cut top, you literally can't see what I'm wearing, but okay. Low-cut top and a face full of makeup. She wants to tell some make-believe story about a guy named Jeff who all of a sudden made her realize that 80 million people are all unique individuals who have their own personalities and not all of them are Nazis. The point of what I was saying was I was wrong to lump in all Trump supporters as the same type of person. And I came to this realization, and I'm embarrassed by what I previously thought of Trump supporters as like some monolith.
So recently, Ana Kasparian talked about leaving the left. She was done with the Democratic Party, even though, she still believes in left-wing policies, but she's walked away realizing that it absolutely gets you nowhere. So doing that, she's left the left. She's now more in the middle. She's more mingling with everybody else. But, she's still left-wing. She just realizes that part. But, at the same time, Ana Kasparian did trash Trump supporters for years, saying all sorts of ridiculous things along with Cenk Uygur over there. And I completely can understand how, and again, like I will applaud Ana Kasparian for realizing that and leaving the left. But at the same time, if you spent years dogging someone else only to realize like you were just wrong the entire time, that's not exactly one of those situations that you can just be like, wipe your hands and be like, "Oh, we're good now, right?" Like, no, it's not always that easy. So I can absolutely understand Laura Loomer, having a pause and being like, "Okay, like you're not exactly cool yet. Maybe you did this, but you did this for a long time." So, yeah, just because you start walking a new path doesn't mean you get to expect everybody else is just going to go along with it and forget about everything and all the other crap that you did do. Like, yeah, that's still going to take a little while. I mean, let me know what you think about that, folks. I'm sure you know everybody, at least one person in your life who's like that. It's like, you dropped the ball, bro. Like, we're not exactly cool yet, but give it a while and like we might be okay. Leave a like. Let's get back in.
But okay, I think you missed the point. Okay. Then she writes, come on, nobody is buying this garbage. Anna is trying to remain relevant in the changing media landscape after she has made serious cash bashing and defaming people like me who actually busted my ass to help Trump get elected. Okay, Laura. There's more. Okay, she's a full-blown liar, and we need to reject people like this who spent years damaging our biggest fighters only to pretend like they don't think Trump is so bad after all. Anyone falling for this is stupid. You don't get to engage in cancel culture for 9 years, then get a free pass for being a raging lunatic. Okay, I mainly want to focus on the third graphic here, right? Because she says that I'm trying to remain relevant in the changing media landscape after making serious cash bashing like Trump supporters like her. Okay. I never made serious cash. I work at the Young Turks. Okay.
Sorry.
Number two, what does she think is happening right now? Like, does she think that I'm trying to be accepted into the MAGA world and I'm trying to find a position or get named for a position in Trump's administration? I'm still, policy-wise, overwhelmingly left-wing. The only thing that's changed is that, well, first of all, we've always been critical of the Democratic Party. It's just that people are finally noticing that. But more importantly, yes, I changed my mind on like a handful of policies, including policies pertaining to crime, some extent on immigration policy, a few things that I've talked open and honestly about on this show. But economically speaking, I'm very much left wing and have been critical of the Democratic Party for their economic policies being too pro-corporate. And who am I making money off of? I'm here at the Young Turks. I've been at the Young Turks for 18 years. And by the way, this is a comment not only to Laura Loomer, but also to the left who engage in the purity stuff and don't like the fact that in the 18 years I've been here, yeah, I've changed my mind on a few issues. And they also don't like this. Look, I see ordinary Americans as civilians, okay? I see them as people who have the right to practice, their own beliefs, to have their own opinions. And I am done with demonizing people based on how they vote. How they vote or the reasons why they vote the way they do is complicated, right? So for me to demonize them and to be hateful and divisive toward them doesn't really make sense. I have changed the way that I talk about people, ordinary people, and the way that I approach ordinary people that I disagree with because I want to understand them. And I see them as my fellow Americans regardless of what their political ideology is. That's what has changed with me. I want to be clear about that. But more importantly, Laura, I'm not coming for you and I'm not coming for whatever position you have in the MAGA world. You're okay. You're going to be fine. No need to worry. I don't know why she randomly came after me today.
If you ask me, folks, I think Ana Kasparian is a bit butthurt after this attack. But one thing did just now occur to me. You know how some people kind of tell on themselves when she told that story about this Jeff guy explaining it. When you explain to people like this is what it took for you to realize, like you couldn't figure that out beforehand. Because when you tell of these moments, it also gives people an insight into how you think. Like you can do some things for the right reason, like you can do right things, but when you do it for a dumb reason, or when you find people doing things not for the reasons that they ought to, but for some other reason that it just happens to work out that way, it brings into question about how much I should really listen to this individual. And having to realize that, a neighbor who was nice all of a sudden made you realize that, yeah, the other half of the country could just also be nice, ordinary people. Like it's kind of ridiculous, I have to say. I mean, let me know in the comments how you think about that. But if somebody told something like you, like that's what it took, like I don't know. It just sounds ridiculous to me. So yeah, again, props to Anna Kasparian for leaving the left, girl. But no, you still got some heat on you, and I think you may have just given a little bit more. But let me know in the comments what you think, folks, about what Anna Kasparian had to say about this accusation attack from Laura Loomer. Maybe have some credit to it. Take care, like and subscribe, and I'll see you folks on the next one.